Welcome back to the finale of Season 2 of DuPont Presents The Power of Shunya, Quest for Zero. We were introduced to some truly miraculous innovations this season. Given that they now exist, are all of India's problems solved? Why not? How must we improve upon in the future? How does Shunya go from being an interesting concept to a reality for India and potentially the world? First, let's listen to how Sunita Narayan applied the principle of Shunya in our episode on pollution.
Today, if at all, we are adopting such a capital resource-intensive system that it creates inequity and it creates waste. And then we spend all our lives chasing that waste, trying to clean up, but we can never clean it up.
Shunya at the starting point. That's what you're saying. Put that goal of Shunya before you take the first step in building your home, in building your office, in building your factory, in conducting any activity.
Very well put. Shunya at the beginning, at the heart of it. Not Shunya after, as an afterthought. But Shunya is the power which allows you to reinvent so that you can absolutely think differently. I keep saying, we talk about thinking outside the box, think without a box. Think Shunya.
Deepankar Gupta, extend that idea. How can more individuals think of Shunya as the starting point rather than the end point? How can India change the way it approaches the idea of Shunya?
You just heard Dr. Devi Shetty say, after he spoke about the technical aspects, the most important thing was political will. And I have to reiterate that again at this point, because we're not looking at individuals doing something extraordinary and then that lapsing into nothingness. We have to collectively produce something. As you know, no science, no commerce, nothing happens on an individual basis alone. So you have to think of ways and means of rewarding people who do science, investing in science, and giving science the kind of lift that this country has not received for many, many years, perhaps centuries. It's time we did that.
I want to, Gurcharan Das, get a sense from you on what the term environmental integrity means in the Indian context. Does India have environmental integrity at all? And, you know, can you apply, again, a Shunya goal in the context of environmental integrity?
Well, certainly. I think that Shunya is really a mindset, as Deepankar has said, as Devi Shetty has said. But Jugaad is also that mindset, that confidence that a person has to tackle a difficult problem. Now, there are ways to tackle difficult problems. Some are small, individual, which you can get around. Others require teams to do it. But ultimately, it is the confidence. And I think that's for me, the big thing of the last 2 decades of India is that we have created a generation of youngsters who have a sense of confidence which their parents did not have.
As we learned from Rajendra Pachori in the episode on climate management, the Hindu philosophy of Vasudeva Kutumbakam means the whole universe is one family. Let's take a look.
Climate change is essentially a collective problem. I mean, it faces all living species on this planet. So while, of course, you need action at the level of the community, at the level of towns and cities, sub-national levels, national levels, and the international levels, ultimately it's the individual who has to start taking this problem seriously. In a democracy, fortunately, if all the members of society realize that something needs to be done, then our leaders will also act. And therefore, I would submit that perhaps the most important contribution we can make to meeting this challenge and solving this problem is to create awareness on the reality and the truth underlying climate change.
How do we create awareness? I mean, a program like this one, which is the Power of Shunya, Quest for Zero, is trying to create awareness. Where does the responsibility for creating awareness lie?
Well, first, you're doing what you can, and it's very important that other organizations should also pitch in. There's no doubt about it. But in education, you listed many kinds of literacy. The more kinds of literacy you introduce, the greater seems to be our extent of illiteracy. You know, that's the sad part. So in order to get awareness on this subject, it can only be done by the state. The state must reward, must propagate, must encourage quality education at every level.
You know, we've talked in this season about how you can produce energy from wind, from solar. There are many, many alternative sources of energy. What should India be doing to, increase this quest for energy from renewables?
So first of all, I think we're already making great progress when it comes to wind energy, and we're making great progress on solar energy. I think the issue till now was getting it to grid parity. And we are now coming to a stage where the cost of solar is closer to grid parity. And this is one perfect example where you can start with zero as a concept. Right? And we should not be looking at these renewable energies just to increase our energy basket, but it also gives the opportunity to get power to far-flung areas where we cannot reach and don't have to put big, large power plants.
Access. What can we do to make renewable energy more accessible, less expensive? This is an area that you understand very well, Ravi Kailas.
And I don't think we are in a stage where renewables are going to provide power to the masses for everybody right now. It may be a goal in 20 years or 30 years. We may reverse course before others, but I don't think we should kid ourselves that it is going to be the source of power for everybody. But I do believe that renewables provides access, solar for example, in microgrids or in villages, etc., where we were able to connect. I saw in one of your programs that in DuPont that you got this project in Leh or in Ladakh, where you have access to power right there, where in fact it's very difficult to take the grid out there, but you can create a whole power solution there. So I do think that we need to balance these factors.
Well, on that note, it's time for a very quick break. Deepankar Gupta, thank you very much for joining us on the show today. Appreciate your insights and your time. Gurcharan Das, thank you very much for joining us. Always great to have you on the Power of Shunya, Quest for Zero. As our efforts to keep the environment safe continue to move forward, so do our efforts for keeping India's growing population safe. After the break, we look ahead to what must be done to improve safety in our daily lives at home, at work, and abroad. Stay tuned.